Hi, welcome everybody. We'll just leave it about another 30 seconds and then we'll start our presentation today. So thank you for joining us. We'll just get the first slides up ready while we are waiting. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. I'm Esther Chesterman. I'm the CEO of the National Extension College, and I'm delighted to be joined by Sarah Kerr. Hi, Sarah. You're just on mute. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. So my name is Sarah Kerr. I work here at the Royal Agricultural University as the Student Recruitment and Outreach Officer here.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So really looking forward to finding out more about the Royal Agricultural College and land-based jobs and roles. So just if you don't know who we are, we're the National Extension College. We're hosting this information session today. We're an online distance learning provider. We've been in operation for over 50 years. And we've been through many different stages of our life cycle. And now we are an online distance learning provider. We started out as a traditional correspondence college many, many years ago. We work really closely with our students and we really like to provide as much information, advice and guidance to our students who are coming to us from many different contexts and for many different reasons as to why they've chosen to study a GCSE or an A level or another course that we do on an online distance learning perspective. It could be a context to do with their life. It could be something to do with the accessibility of the education that we're offering. They may be looking to come to education a little bit later in life if they're looking for a change of career. And that's where I think your advice and guidance today, Sarah, will be really useful and welcome. So many different student profiles and different motivations for learning with the National Extension College and for exploring further qualifications. I've got a short little video now that just explains a little bit how our model of learning works.
When you learn online with NEC, you're in charge. You can study when, where and how you like, alongside your other commitments. You set your own study timetable. As an educational charity, our main aim is to support you throughout your course. Start by choosing the course you want to study, then enroll online or by phone. Our experienced and friendly course advice team are here to advise you. Remember, NEC is here to help you achieve your goals.
We've both done it now. That was just a little video to explain a little bit about National Extension College, and you can find out much more about us on our website. So as I said before, we like to have a wide range of specialists and other higher or further education institutions join us to share their information and a little bit about themselves. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides. And Sarah, I'm going to welcome you and you can start sharing yours in a second. And as I said, we're very much looking forward to finding out a little bit more about the courses you offer at the Royal Agricultural University. So I'll pass over to you now, Sarah.
Excellent, thank you. I'm just sharing my screen now, so hopefully that's coming up. There we go. Yes, so thank you very much, Esther. That's thank you for kind of introducing me. It's really useful to find out a little bit more about the NEC as well from my point of view. So yeah, I'm the Royal Agricultural University, and as Esther kind of mentioned there, we are a specialist. So who are the RAU? So for those of you who maybe haven't come across us before, we're based in Cirencester, so in the Cotswolds in the southwest of the UK. We are, as I mentioned, a specialist university and fairly small as universities go. So we have around 1,100 students who study with us, and they might be doing undergraduate programs, so 3-year degrees or maybe 2-year foundation degree programs, all the way through to kind of postgraduate study with master's level programs and PhDs as well sometimes. In terms of our facilities, so we are a campus-based university, so all of our kind of buildings and lecture theatres and the accommodation is all on our one site here. And with those facilities, you can see there on the screen, there's a picture of the library, the main building there, some of the lecture blocks as well, where the students are walking across the quad. We've also got a cafe, a dining room, a bar on campus, and a gym as well. So lots of things for our students to kind of have while they're on campus. And I would say our community, so I've popped community on the side of the screen there. The RAU community is quite special. It's something that there's a really strong sense of community here. So students are known by name by their lecturers and personal tutors and things like that. We've got a really strong support system as well. So while students are studying with us, they have a personal tutor. Also, as I mentioned, their lecturers will all know the students. And so if you had a question about maybe an assignment or something like that, students can approach the tutors and sort of ask them and get support that way. And then we also are keen to support our students in terms of employability. So a big part of coming to university would be thinking about that graduate job at the end. So where do you want your degree to take you? And so at the RAU, we have our careers team. So they're there to kind of help you with mock interviews, checking your CV, things like that, helping you get that all-important graduate job. But also that comes through in your courses as well. So the courses that we offer, I will talk about a little bit more at the end, but they all have some form of work placement as part of them. So you get that work experience while you're as part of your studies. And also support from the lecturer is really good at kind of networking and helping students to think about what career they might want to go into and that sort of thing as well. And then finally, we've also got an enterprise program here at the RAU. So for our students who are maybe thinking about setting up their own businesses in the future, wanting kind of having that entrepreneurial ambition, our enterprise program is there to support those students through the various stages of setting up and running their own business. They can apply for funding, they can pitch their business ideas in various kind of competitions that we have going on and things like that. So that's just a little bit about the Royal Agricultural University. So hopefully that's been helpful. What we're just going to go on to now is thinking about looking at land-based careers and the land-based sector. So we're going to think first, what is the land-based sector? So I mentioned that most of our courses are based around the land-based sector, and from our title or the name of the university, you'd probably think, yeah, agriculture is definitely part of the land-based sector. It also covers the environment, so thinking about maybe environment, conservation, wildlife, animal as well, so thinking kind of equine veterinary, that sort of thing, animal husbandry, equine, so thinking about the kind of horse world, and also land management. So that might become, so one of the careers we'll think about later on is actually land agency and becoming a land agent, looking after people's land, advising them on how to use that land and things like that. So those are kind of the main sectors. And I suppose business is also one of the degree programs that we offer here at the RAU. And that would be kind of underpinning actually all of these different areas within the land-based sector. It is a business area as well. So just to kind of think about the pathways into careers in the land-based sector. So most degree programs would ask for you to have some GCSEs. We would ask for a certain number of GCSEs at grades A to C, and then English and maths as well. So to include English and maths or equivalent level 2 qualifications. Then you think about those level 3 qualifications. So obviously the NEC offering those A-level courses, thinking about vocational learning. Maybe you've done BTECs at college or something like that. Maybe you're currently doing T-levels or those subjects. And then there's also apprenticeships that could lead you into level 4 to 6. So that's where we come in at the Royal Agricultural University, offering those level 4 and above qualifications through degrees, foundation degrees. degree. We don't offer degree apprenticeships, but it is another way into those higher education pathways. So it's important to say here, at the Royal Agricultural University, in terms of the land-based sector, we don't specify that you have to have certain A levels to come onto our programs, but it is something that's worth considering. For example, if you wanted to go into veterinary, you might have to have done certain qualifications to take that pathway. So just thinking about courses in land-based subjects, so at university level, how many courses do you think there are? So just have a little think about that question for a couple of seconds, and then we'll talk about it. So in terms of the courses within the land-based subjects, so we've thought about those 5 different subject areas of animal, equine, agriculture, land management, and environment. Actually, so UCAS is one of the university tools that you would use if you were applying for university. They have a fantastic feature, which is course search, and you can use that to search for different higher education courses. If you search agriculture on there, for example, you get over 300 courses come back, so offered at various universities across the UK. With animal, it's over 500. So if you're looking at the land-based sector as a whole, there's probably well over 1,000 different courses that you could look at if you were kind of thinking about doing a course in the land-based sector. Hopefully you'd be able to kind of split it down into maybe a place that you wanted to go to university, or a particular subject within that you wanted to do. So for example, maybe animal science or wildlife conservation or something. So don't be alarmed by that list of subjects, but just to kind of make you aware that actually it's quite a big subject area. There are a number of degree courses that you could study if you're interested in studying land-based subjects. These are just a few now of the study opportunities within agriculture. So they're not all offered by the Royal Agricultural University. We do offer a foundation degree in agriculture and farm management. There's obviously the BSc Honours in agriculture and applied farm management. But what you, just to kind of note there, universities' websites will often include some examples of what you might study on each course. So, for example, with agriculture and farm management, you could look up what you might be studying if you were to do that course program. So that's just to show you the wide range of courses that are available. Same for the environment. And actually, when if you're thinking about an environment degree course, so if you're doing, for example, A-level geography, and you're thinking, where will this take me? You can see there the kind of wide range from things like environmental science, courses that might cover kind of climate change and things like that, through to, as I said, our course, British Wildlife Conservation, but also things like conservation biology and ecology and conservation, which are offered at different universities across the UK. So that's just to give you the range of environment. In terms of animal, you can do courses such as animal science, zoology, veterinary medicine. Again, these aren't offered at the Royal Agricultural University, but would be offered at courses at different places across the UK. Then we have equine. Again, these are very different depending on where you think about studying it. So some places would offer courses such as equine health and nutrition, equine sports science, or might look at sports science and coaching. Here at the Royal Agricultural University, we focus more on equine science and business. And also we offer the course there, bloodstock and performance horse management. So thinking a bit about the different routes within a particular subject area, there are lots of different options available. And then we come on to land management. So if you're thinking about that, here at the Royal Agricultural University, we offer BSc Honours in Rural Land Management. You can also do courses elsewhere, such as Rural Enterprise and Land Management or Countryside Management. So just thinking about the different routes within that. It's important to mention, so our Rural Land Management course is accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, which could lead then to students gaining that kind of chartered surveyor status once they've gone into the world of work after they've finished their programme. As long as it's an accredited programme, they may then take that path to become a chartered surveyor afterwards. So just thinking about those courses, what are they like to study? And this is kind of true of the courses at the Royal Agricultural University. If you're thinking about land-based courses, they're often vocational, so they're leading into certain career areas, in this case within the land-based sector generally. They would include practical elements. So for example, within agriculture, you might find yourself on farm walks, working out feed quantities and things like that. In terms of equine, you might be in the lab doing something, looking at kind of dust within hay or something. Scientific, they generally are BSc degree courses within the land-based sector, so Bachelor of Science programs. They often include work placements, as I've already mentioned, would have a varied style of teaching. So, for example, you might have some, as I've mentioned, where you'd be out on a farm walk for a lecture. You also would have lectures, so there might be quite a few students in a lecture, or potentially seminars as well, where you'd have a smaller number of students and you might be more of a discussion-based activity. They also generally, land-based courses would have a range of assessment types. So there might be some level of exams in them, or kind of open book assessments, things like that. There might be presentations as part of the assessment, various different assignments in terms of like maybe data analysis or things like that, group work, creating that assessment. So a really big range of assessment within these courses. And also, I think it's important to mention there the ability to specialise. So on our courses, for example, you would have some elective modules where you could kind of tailor your course a little bit more to a particular area that you were interested in if the modules were there that you wanted to do. So that's just kind of give you a bit of an insight. If you're thinking about studying a land-based course, to just think about what might it be like to study those programmes while you're at university. So as Esther mentioned at the start, I wanted to just go into a little bit more information about our specific programmes here at the Royal Agricultural University. You can see they're split into kind of the 5 different areas. So we've got the environment programmes, agriculture, equine, real estate and rural land management. As I mentioned, those are both courses that are accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And then the business programmes as well. Where it says there FDSC, that stands for Foundation Degree, those are typically 2-year programmes. And then where it's got the BSc honours, those would be 3-year programmes. And then where it says top up, those courses are typically studied. So for example, if we're using British Wildlife Conservation as the example, you might do the 2-year programme in British Wildlife Conservation and then choose to do the top up in wildlife and countryside management, which would effectively kind of turn it into that 3-year degree programme. So those are our different courses. You can see there within business, we offer rural entrepreneurship and enterprise. So that's sort of thinking about setting up your own business within the rural sector, and also agri-food business management. So thinking about food supply chains and things like that, and business management within that setting. So those are our courses. And I'm very happy to kind of talk to you a little bit more about those if that's something that's of interest, but you can also find out more information on our website too. So before I finish, I think in terms of giving you an insight into the land-based sector and kind of studying courses and things like that, it's also important just to have a think about the different careers within it. So as I already mentioned, we thought about the number of courses in the land-based sector, and it's thousands potentially. And thinking about careers, it's probably similar. There are lots and lots of different careers within land-based subjects. Here are a few kind of features of land-based careers. So you may be working outdoors. So for example, maybe working as a ranger for the environment, within the environment, forestry, things like that. Might be working on a farm, advising farmers, things like that. You might be working in veterinary. And it might actually be that you're not working outdoors and you're working in an office or something, but for a land-based company. As I mentioned, there's a wide range of careers. Some careers in the land-based sector would require degree level qualifications, some of the more science roles and things like that. But one thing that is really crucial is bringing in new skills and ideas. And you can see that all the time with diversification within the sector. So just have a brief think about a few careers that you can think of within the land-based sector, so within those subject areas we've talked about. And then I'm now just going to go through a few different career profiles, and we won't spend a very long time thinking about each one, but it's just to give you a kind of idea of the range of subjects that the different degree programs might lead into, and then thinking back to kind of where your A-levels might lead you as well. So in terms of agriculture, there are lots of opportunities available. One of them might be farm manager, so actually overseeing the running of the farm. It's more than farming. It's kind of thinking about the managing the staff, planning the finances and things like that. Or thinking about the pure kind of science side of it, thinking about agronomy, looking at how to get the best yield from crops. You might work with farmers in that sort of job to kind of help them with if they've got some land and they're thinking, what can I grow here? What can I do? They might call on an agronomist to support them in that situation. In terms of if you're thinking about the kind of more animal side, maybe veterinary nursing, and for that one, you would need to complete an accredited course. Or nutritionist, and you would need that understanding of kind of animal nutrition and things like that. And you might become an equine nutritionist, for example. In terms of the environment, I already mentioned countryside ranger, so looking after the countryside in a specific area. One thing you might do with that as well is actually educating other people on the environment. And ecologists as well, so helping protect ecosystems and looking at how the world interacts. Thinking about equine, and these are all just examples. So the whole way through this, it's not an exhaustive list at all. So you could be a livery yard manager, think about coaching or riding instructor, depending on the qualifications that you've got, bloodstock agent, things like that. And then thinking about land management, so if you gained your chartered surveyor status, so you would need to do a RICS accredited course for that. You might become a rural surveyor, helping clients, offering advice to help them with their rural businesses, or estate manager, so running a particular estate, and thinking about staffing, the heritage, and things like that. In terms of thinking about RAU graduate careers, and also like if you're thinking about a particular course that you might want to do after, so for example, if you're doing your A-levels now and then you're thinking, where's that going to take me degree-wise, and you've kind of maybe come across a degree that you think you want to do, and then you're thinking, where can I go from that? A really good resource is university websites. So for example, our website, we would have on the course pages an example of where graduates have gone on to do. So this is from one of our equine pages. So you could have a look at that, have a look at the careers that people have gone on into. Again, it won't be an exhaustive list. That won't be the only careers those graduates have gone on to do, but it's certainly worth having a think about that. So if you're interested in land-based, maybe particularly if it's a new sector to you, not something you've come across before maybe or looked into very much, do have a look at the career options and think about whether they might be for you. And as I mentioned already, there is lots of careers support available at university as well. So we have our careers team there to kind of put on careers events where we'd have employers come in to talk to students about their futures, and also thinking about that work placement support, mock interviews, CV writing support, and things like that as well. So before I kind of hand back to Esther, and before we finish this webinar, I just wanted to sort of encourage you. So I've told you a little bit there about the Royal Agricultural University and our courses, but also about courses across the land-based sector generally. So do find out more if it's a sector that is interesting to you. Do find out more about the opportunities. I mentioned the UCAS course search earlier on, so do have a look at the UCAS course search and see if that's if there are courses on there, if there's a subject that you're really interested in. So for example, conservation maybe, and pop that into UCAS course search and see if what degree programs come up that might be of interest to you. Lots of the courses within the land-based sector might require you to have had some work experience, and certainly careers in the land-based sector may want you to have completed some work experience. There are lots of volunteering opportunities within this sector, and also in some cases paid opportunities as well. So do think about work experience. And I think work experience is really good because it also helps you to understand whether it's something that you do want to go into. In terms of finding a university, if that's something that you're thinking about, do look at university websites and explore the courses and things like that. Or you'd be very welcome to kind of attend university online events or open days as well. So here at the Royal Agricultural University, our next open day is coming up in July. You can book that one on our website if you'd like to visit us. But if you'd like to obviously have a look at other universities too and think about booking onto open days to find out more about the courses and more about what uni life might be like. So that brings me to the end of my kind of presentation here. I think now we're going to go over to questions. So I'll leave the screen up. But yeah, Esther, I'll hand
Thank you. So, is that a picture of the college?
Yes, that's the university.
Beautiful. That's in the Cotswolds, I think you said, didn't you? So very lovely. So we've got one question come in. You did allude to this a little bit, I think, in your presentation, that you're quite open to different subjects. But perhaps it might be another way of looking at it. Are there ones that are more common for students to have studied before they join the Royal Agricultural University?
So I think we are open to a range of subject areas, and I think all different subjects can give you experience that would be beneficial. I think quite often students who are interested in that kind of more outdoorsy kind of thinking about that may have done things like maybe geography, potentially kind of geology, those kind of programs, maybe environmental science at A level. Or biology, things like that. But it is by no means you have, like, if you haven't done a science A level and you're thinking you'd like to come onto one of our programs, that would still be, as long as you've got the required entry requirements. So all of our courses would say on the website kind of what we'd be looking for. So in terms of if it's 3 Cs at A level or BCC or things like that. And we also put it there in UCAS points as well. Some of our students, so for example, with maybe equine, they might have done a level 3 equine program as well at kind of college or something like that. So yes, we don't kind of specify you have to have done a certain course, but of course, if you're looking at other universities too, do take into account that they may do that. So just have a look at it.
That's good to have that wider advice as well, because obviously you're representing your institution, but it's also to try and encourage people into this sector as well, which is good to see. So just the Royal Agricultural University specific entry requirements you've just talked about, it's quite open entry. Is the process the same? You're obviously on UCAS. Do you interview? Can people apply directly? Do they have to go through UCAS? So
for our undergraduate programs, which I think most of the kind of NEC students would probably be more interested in, we do say go through UCAS. And so through UCAS, you have the option of applying for one choice, or you can apply for up to 5 different courses or universities. So yeah, we would take all of the applications through UCAS and then respond to students and give them offers that way.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. And you talked quite a lot about, firstly, work experience, to gain that perhaps before you're making your final decision on the type of course that you want to study. And then work placements. Are there particular organisations, companies or sectors that the Royal Agricultural University has really strong links with? Do you manage to place students in work placements?
Yeah, so we don't have a kind of set bank of placements that we give to students every year or anything like that. And one of the reasons behind that is actually so that students can tailor their work placements to something that really interests them.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, our students do set up their own work placements. That might be with companies that they know, maybe companies local to them, things like that. But we do have really good relationships with lots of companies. And so kind of thinking about within maybe land management, some of the bigger land management firms, so kind of Savills or Knight Frank or things like that, like students might go off and do placements with them over the summers. But generally, lots of kind of local farms and things like that, or equine companies and things too. So
great, so lots of opportunity. Thank you. Hi, Karen. We've got a question from Karen Compton here. So, hi, so if I was interested in animal or equine, do I study for some time outside of the university? And you did, sort of talk a little bit about the sort of variety of different delivery methods, walking through a field or a farm visit, I think you called it.
Yeah.
So animal and equine in particular, Karen's interested in. Anything you can comment on that?
Yeah, so actually we don't have a kind of specific animal course here at the Royal Agricultural University. We would do the equine programs. So what you would do is you'd have a 15-week work placement. So that would be outside of the university. And I do think you would do a kind of assignment based on that work placement, kind of when you come back to the university. So that would be 15 weeks where you're not here at the university, but it's still kind of for your course. And then in terms of equine, it wouldn't be a kind of block of time necessarily that you wouldn't be at the university, but you may, for example, go to our equestrian centre for a lecture. You might visit another kind of local equine business or things like that. So you would have time where you're not necessarily in a classroom here, but it's still part of your course.
Okay, thank you very much. So you said you have an equine centre there. Do you have horses on site, or is it something that you sort of partner with another organisation with?
Yeah, so we've got the RAU Equestrian Centre, which is about 5 minutes away from the university, and there are a few kind of ponies, horses there that are university sort of horses. It's also a working livery yard, so sometimes horses of our students might be staying there, or kind of members of the public as well might be stabling their horses at the equestrian centre too. So and it is used by our students for research and things like that, as part of their kind of courses too.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, you've definitely inspired me to one thing, get out into this glorious sunshine we have today. So thank you. I don't think there's any more questions today, Sarah, but thank you so much. You've given a really, really full overview of not only the land-based sector, which is useful to understand the range of courses on offer, and then more importantly around the Royal Agricultural University. So thank you very much for your time today.
No, thank you very much. And do have a look at our website if you want any more information on the RAU.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.